Okay, hey, today I've got a close-up trick for you. So I need you to come a little bit closer. You got to be able to see these dice really good, okay? Here's the thing, any die anywhere, the top and the bottom should add up to 7, right? Doesn't matter which side it's flipped, the top and the bottom should always sum to 7 between the two sides. If you have 2 dice and you put them side by side, that means the tops and the bottoms should sum to 14. So let's check this out. 5 and 6 totals 11. So on the bottom we should have 3. That's right, totals 14. 3 on the bottom, 11 on top. Now if you ever have 11 on top, you should always have 3 on the bottom, right? You should never have 11 on the bottom, because then you'd have 3 on the top. And if you have 3 on the top, you wouldn't have 3 on the bottom because you'd have 11 on top. And you should never have 11 on the top and the bottom. Something's gone horribly wrong at this point. You should always have 11 on top and 3 on the bottom. That's just the rules. That's just how dice work. So, well, how about this? Because sometimes the numbers work in different ways. In this case, look, we've got 9, okay? So a 6 and a 3 equals 9. So 9 should be 5 on the bottom. Yeah, see? 5 and 9, 14. Every time, that's just the rules. But there's different ways to get the numbers, right? So imagine those 2 middle dots on the 6. What if those were to jump over into the corners of the 3? It wouldn't change the math. We'd still have 9, we'd still have 5, but it would look like that, with the 2 little dots having jumped across. Yeah. Now, let's say, for example, we've got a 3 and a 2. That's still 5, right? We've still got 9 on the bottom, but what's another way to make 5? How about 4 and 1? Yeah. So the math always adds up. But look, you can change the order too. Look, right now the 1 is out on this side pointing to this side. It's still 5. It's still 9 on the bottom, but give it a shake and the 1 is now on the inside. Yeah, that's all it takes. Just give it a little shake and the 1 jumps right back to the outside. And that is Sachs Spotted Sorcery. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about how you can learn this and maybe some other ideas with these little dice. So stay tuned for this magic homework. So I came to this routine in kind of a roundabout way. It's something that's kind of been on my vague radar, long distance radar for a while, as I've seen people do it and do it well. But the reason I actually got around to finally learning this routine, I was hosting the PCAM convention and I was supplying everyone with a deck of cards for some of our training sessions. And the shop that had cards also had a box of 200 dice for a really good price. So 20 bucks for 200 dice. I thought, oh, that's some good cheap magic supplies. I can teach a dice trick to everyone. And so I bought the dice first and then went to learn the routine so I could teach it. I ended up finding this routine in Bruce Elliott's classic Secrets of Magic, which should appear from the ether right about here. I don't have a hard copy of this. This is something I had digitized, so it's in cyberspace there. But ebook or not, it's a good book. It's got the Benson bowl in there. It's another one of the great tricks in that book. But it also has this routine, which is called Sachs Spotted Sorcery. Now, fun historical fact, because aren't they all? I was reading through the book and I thought, wait a minute, Bruce? I think you've made an error. You wrote Sachs Dice Routine with an S-A-C-K. Sorry, that should be S-A-C-K. Hard to write backwards. But of course, everyone knows Edwin Sachs of, Sachs sleight of hand is spelled S-A-C-H-S. Sachs. So, Bruce, you made a mistake. Wait, what? No? I was looking this up in order to verify. Turns out, he did not make a mistake. Because the famous Edwin Sachs changing dice routine, which is from what year? I had this written down. 1877, Sachs changing dice routine, or trick, is Edwin Sachs. This routine is a completely different Sachs. It is Dr. Theodore Sack, apostrophe S, Sachs Dice Routine. Two different people. Same trick. Just a weird magic history tidbit there. Let's get back to it. Okay. So, the routine is in there. It was originally published in the Phoenix magazine, again, going back to June of 1948 in the Phoenix, which of course was Bruce Elliot as editor. So, most of his book is borrowing from the Phoenix magazine. But this routine is in there. It is, in my opinion, well worth learning because it's not a card trick. How much of our close-up repertoire is based on a card trick? And how many times have you approached someone with a deck of cards and they go, oh, I've seen this one. So expand your repertoire into things like this. This is a great trick because it uses 2 dice, totally ordinary dice you can find anywhere. You can carry these in your pocket, very small, much smaller than a deck of cards. And in the few weeks that I have made this my go-to pocket trick, I'm a believer in the power of this routine. It is very small, it is very focused, but it is eye-popping. The changes are very small, but the impact is quite big. And in fact, it says this in Bruce Elliott's write-up of the trick. He says, do not do the change until you know that everyone is focused on this small little spot. Because if they are focused, it is a big magic moment. So don't underestimate this tiny little trick because it's extremely practical. And I got to thinking, hey, if I'm going to be carrying around these 2 dice, that gives me some ideas. What else could I do? So let me try a little bonus demo for you. And this is something I've only been working on just today, truly. And it uses a 3rd die. So again, it's still not very much to carry around your pocket. So if I take the first one there, and the second one there, and the third one goes into my pocket, okay, that means that, wait, I'm sorry, hang on. What? No, sorry, I've messed up somehow. No, sorry, the one goes into my hand, the second one goes into my hand, the third one goes into my pocket. Yes, that's right. So then, okay. You know what? As I said, I'm just learning this, so bear with me. Maybe I'm getting it backwards. Hang on. How about this? The first one goes into the pocket, okay? The second one, that goes into my hand. The third one goes into my pocket. And then I think there's something about a big ending, but what was that? Oh my goodness. I guess that's a big ending. Well, you know what? Maybe I should have reversed it again. And wait, whoops, no, sorry, I didn't mean reverse it like that. That's a different kind of reversal. I better end that there. So that's it. And so now I've got 2 routines that fit in my pocket and don't involve a deck of cards. So the first one, Sachs Spotted Sorcery. That second one comes from a book I do have. This is real. This is a real book, The Magic of Gerald Kosky. And that is called, what is it? How Many Spots, I believe is what it's called. Yes? Let me double check that. Hang on. I put my bookmark in here. How many? It's called How Many, as in how many spots. His pattern's a little bit different than mine. And I also found that same how many spots is also in Routined Manipulation Finale, Lewis Ganson. Exact same, no difference in the write-up. So it's a very classic 2 in the hand, 1 in the pocket routine, but use the dice you already have, right? Make use of what you have in more ways than one, and you're using less pocket space for more magic, so that's a big win. The other thing you may have noticed in my presentation for that trick, again, it's very new to me, so I'm still figuring it out, but I changed the presentation because in the book it's that traditional, oh, how many did I put in my hand? No, you're wrong, it's 3. Which is the worst. It's the absolute worst presentation. It's just constantly going, no, you're an idiot, because I'm tricking you. Like, that is the worst possible thing you could say to your audience. So I was playing with that idea, as you saw, of like, the magic is happening against my will. I'm trying to put 2, and it's changing, and I'm trying to create that sense of like, something weird is happening in my hand. And, oh, well, look what happened. Which I think is a much more pleasant presentation than, no, you're wrong, you're an idiot. So encourage people to like magic now and again. So that's it, with a couple of dice. So you got Sachs Spotted Sorcery, you got Gerald Kosky's how many, or really any 2 in the hand, 1 in the pocket. They're all 98% identical. But that's that. But I said I could teach this one to you because Sachs Spotted Sorcery, being from 1948, is well beyond what I would consider a trick in the public domain, not in a legal sense, but in a community sense. And so I am going to teach it to you, but not here. That is, I have policies. One policy is I don't teach new tricks, I only teach old tricks. And the other policy is I do not teach magic on YouTube. I do not teach magic in a way that people can just accidentally find it. I need people to make an effort to show up to learn magic. That's all I ask. It's free, I'm not asking for any money. I'm just asking you to make an effort. So if you want to learn this routine from me, I mean, you can learn it on your own, but if you want to learn it from me, head on over to Magic Tips and Tricks / what am I going to do that? What am I going to call it? / Sachs Dice with a K. MagicTipsandTricks.com / Sachs with a K Dice. It's here. You can read it. And that'll be a free tutorial for you to follow along. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I maybe can encourage you to put down the deck of cards for a few minutes and try something new. And that's all I'm doing. I'm just trying new stuff here on Magic Homework. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.